Throwback, long division. So, back in the day, you were told to ask yourself a question. How many times does 3 go into 7? You would say 2. Then you'd say 2 times 6, or 2 times 3 is 6. And then what you would do is you would subtract. So 7 minus 6 was 1. Then you'd bring down the rest of your stuff. 2 times 3. Okay, so that takes care of that. So, what are we going to do with 14? 3 goes into 14. How many times? 4 times. And 4 times 3 is 12, which means you'd subtract those guys, and you'd be left with 243. So then one more time, you would ask yourself, how many times does 3 go into 24? It would be 8, and it worked out beautiful. So then you would just cancel those out. You'd be left with 3, and 3 goes into 3 one time, and you were done. You had no remainder. You were good to go. So everything was all good and happy. But then sometimes you'd have a remainder. So in this next example, you would ask yourself how many times 9 goes into 57. You'd get 6. This would be a 54. You'd subtract, and you would have your 344. So then you would say, how many times does 9 go into 34? You would say 3. You'd get a 27. And then you would have a 74 left. And then you would multiply by 8 to get your 72. But then you'd have a remainder of 2. But you have no more places to go. So then you would just have a remainder of 2. And you would either write R2 or you would write 2/9 because there were 2 remainder out of 9 since you are dividing. So that's a recap on long division. Now, why did we do that? That's because you're going to start doing long division with polynomials. So this is what you're going to do for long division of polynomials. It's a little tricky, but you're going to divide x cubed minus 4x squared minus 19x minus 14 by x minus 7. So in a way, this is factoring, except for we had to give you something that this was divisible by. So then from here, you would ask yourself similar questions. They're not the exact same. So what you would say is x times what will give me x cubed, because we want the first term to cancel at all times. So you would say that x times x squared is going to give you x cubed. So you're going to put an x squared in the x squared column. You're going to find out that these columns are going to line up nice. So then you would ask yourself what x squared times x was, and you'd say x cubed, and then x squared times a negative 7, which is a negative 7x squared. And again, just like long division with numbers, you are going to subtract. Now you're going to need to figure out what you want to do. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it in this one problem, so don't get confused. I'm just showing you 2 options so you get to pick. So remember, you're subtracting. So you can say x cubed minus x cubed is going to cancel, and that's what we want it to do, so that goes away. And then this is a negative 4 minus a negative 7. So you have to remember to add, because minus a negative is plus. So negative 4 plus 7 is 3x squared. And now you're going to bring down your 19x and your negative 14, and you're ready to go again. So we are going to go again, but now we're going to ask ourselves, x times what is going to give us 3x squared? So you think for a moment and you say that's going to be 3x, because 3x times x is 3x squared. So we're going to put the 3x in the x column. 3x times x is a 3x squared. And 3x times a negative 7 is a negative 21x. And remember, this is subtracting, so here's the other way that you can do it for this step. You can just switch the signs of everything in that row. So this becomes a negative 3x, and this becomes a positive 21x. Again, it's your choice. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do. Just pick something you like and do it. So the 3x squareds are going to cancel. That's their purpose. And then we have a negative 19 and a 21, so that's going to give us 2x minus 14. And we only have room for one more step. So we're going to ask ourselves, x times what gives us 2x? The answer is 2. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a negative 7 is a negative 14. Again, if you're subtracting, this is going to become a minus and that's a plus. So that's going to give you no remainder, again, which is a good thing. So you're good for this problem. The answer is x squared plus 3x plus 2. And if you were to multiply that by what you divided by, your x minus 7, if you were to FOIL that back out, you would get the x cubed minus 4x squared minus 19x minus 14, which tells you that long division is pretty much a form of factoring. However, we would have to give you one of the terms. Okay, so there are 3 more examples in the notes, but I'm only going to do 1 more. And then we're going to save 2 of the examples for class so we can step through it step by step together again, face to face. So, next problem. One other key. You always have to go in descending order without skipping any terms. So inside we have 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed. But notice an x squared is supposed to come next, but there isn't one. You need to put a plus 0x squared as a placeholder because you must have columns as you're dividing. So then we have our plus 5x minus 1. And, of course, our x squared minus 2x plus 2 is going to come out in front. So what you are going to do is you're going to start dividing. Now, I'd like you to try to get through the first step on your own. And once you're ready, we'll see if you got the next step correct. So we'll take this a couple of pauses to go through, but I want you to try the next step on your own. So go do it. So you should have multiplied x squared minus 2x plus 2 by a 2x squared. That would have given you a 2x to the 4th minus 4x cubed plus 4x squared. But then you remember you got to subtract, so that's why my signs are different. And then your next row should be 7x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x minus 1. So if that's what you have, what I would like you to do again is pause the video and try the next step on your own. And for those of you that got it wrong, I would like you to try to get this step on your own before you just copy down what I have and go on. Okay? So, pause the video, try the next step. So after you multiplied everything by 7x, you should subtract and end up with 10x squared minus 9x minus 1. So if you have that step, you should be good to go to finish. So go right ahead, pause the video one last time and finish. If you have this step wrong, go back and look and see if you can figure out what you did wrong and try again. One last step, go get her. So the last thing you were supposed to do is multiply by a 10. You would get this, which would leave you with 11x minus 21. Since you are out of room, that is your remainder. So just like I did in the earlier problem with the 2 over 9, your remainder goes over what you're dividing by. So your final answer is 2x squared plus 7x plus 10 plus your remainder over x squared minus 20 or minus 2x plus 2. Now again, there are 2 more examples. However, we are going to save those for class so we can go through step by step. If you would like to try it right now, go right ahead and we can go over the answers tomorrow in class and you can see if you did them correctly. This is Longo and I am out. See you, bye.